Hey, what's good guys? This is Chris from WearTesters.com. Welcome back to the official WearTesters.com YouTube channel. Today we have the performance review on these guys right here. This is the Converse All-Star Pro BB. Yes? We got it. We got it. That was a rough one. So first things first, if you are just wanting a simple comparison, in my opinion, that is the Nike Kobe AD NXT 360. However, those things retail for about $200. These guys retail for $140. So the price difference for the performance comparison is like, it's a pretty big jump. However, you can't find the NXTs available at outlets and certain areas for discounts, which is great. And I feel that these guys do some things better than those, but I do feel that those things also do other things better than these. So they're fairly comparable overall, but they do have some differences. The first difference is the traction right here. These guys right here use just, you know, that old school kind of like squared look that Converses are known for. If you have a pair of Chuck Taylors, you turn it around, it probably looks similar to this. So I understand the concept behind using this style of traction pattern. And I thought that this was going to be either a hit or a miss, and it pretty much was, but it wasn't one or the other, it was both, which is kind of like frustrating, honestly, because you don't know what type of traction you're going to get out of these at any given time. And that is during the same exact game that you're actually playing. So you might be playing on a great floor, but you might also skid out, which is like a bummer. But on the other hand, same floor, same game, you might have like amazing traction prior to that skid. Again, it's like a little inconsistent. Mostly the inconsistencies come from where everything gets really like small and compact. So a lot of debris will end up building up right there, and for whatever reason you'll plant your foot, and instead of planting this way, like if you're trying to stop and you want to really plant hard, so you put all of your pressure on your foot, boom, you're just sliding out, and it kind of sucked. As long as I stayed on my forefoot, it was usually pretty good. Even on a bad floor, like I would have to wipe periodically. So this section worked okay. This section, not so much. And again, it was just, you know, inconsistent throughout gameplay, because you're playing on the floor, you're just doing, you know, whatever it is that comes instinctively or naturally to you on the basketball floor, and certain foot strikes, like you just wipe out, and it sucks. Even with them being very flexible, kind of like a Nike Free, it just didn't help overall. So that's the one area in particular that the Kobe NXT 360, the Kobe AD NXT 360, that's a fucking horrible name. I get irritated every time I have to try and say it. Who came up with that? This name's actually no better. I gotta say, I can't remember the name of these things to save my life. But anyways, that is one of the key differences between the two shoes. The Kobe AD NXT, while the nubs on those things was not durable like these things actually are, they grip the floor way better than these things overall, and more consistently overall. Now the cushion on these guys is almost identical to the Kobe AD NXT 360. It's a full-on drop-in React insert. The Kobe AD had a little bit of a variation between foam, where it was a mixture between lunar as well as React. I do kind of like the way that those felt a little bit more, only because it was kind of like a balanced ride. This is not bad by any means, and especially once you get used to it, like about the first like game or two, like it kind of feels a little funny, but afterwards you feel basically like you are playing barefoot, which some players might like, some players might not. I didn't mind it. I felt very stable, you know what I mean? Like in the shoe, like I felt like I could like do whatever minus the traction issue. And then the impact protection on these guys isn't the best, but it's also not the worst. And in terms of court feel and some sort of impact protection, this is a good balance. It just is not very thick, so you ride really low to the ground. However, I did try them with these guys right here. This is the lunar insert with the full zoom, and these sit, believe it or not, even lower than these. So what this ended up doing was making the heel was a little bit too mushy for me, so I liked this kind of like ride a little bit more than this one. And then on top of that, the forefoot rides just a little bit lower than these as well, so it affects the fit in the forefoot, which some people might like overall. I'll explain that later. But for me, I just like the way that this one felt inside the shoe. It makes sense because it was made for it and everything like that. You can swap out the inserts if you have them and you want to try them. I would just personally stick with this one myself. And the one thing that I really didn't like is this lining right here. This is kind of like a play on the old canvas uppers for the old All-Star shoes. And this stuff really rubbed my toes raw every time I played in them. It didn't matter what kind of socks I was using. It just was a real big pain. I thought that it would break in and get better over time. It just didn't, unfortunately, and it ended up getting worse over time. So the more that I played in them, the more pain I would have on the bottom of my toes. One of my toes actually has like this weird, like it looks like a blood blister, but it doesn't have the blistering look to it. It just looks like it's about to be one. So I was like, this, I'm done. I would have liked a normal lining like this guy, or no lining like the Kobe NXT 360's model, which has no lining whatsoever. That's my one main nitpick on the cushion, is mostly the feel of this liner. It's not really a knock on the cushion itself, more so the little finishing touch. So the materials on these guys is kind of just, you know, whatever. It's not anything crazy. It's not premium. It's not, you know, a deterrent or anything like that. It works really well. What I like about it is it's lightweight. It is fairly breathable, not completely breathable, but it's fairly breathable. It moves really well with your foot. So when you're all laced up and tied up, it kind of like fits you like a glove, which is nice. However, it's not premium. And I like leathers and stuff like that. So if you're looking for something super light, super airy, basically what I just described, this might be a great shoe for you. If you like the way that the Kobe AD NXT 360 felt on foot, which I was kind of like half and half on. I like the back half of that shoe, not really the front half. This guy reminds me of mostly the back half. So you get that back half feel all the way around. So in that sense, slight increase in like overall feel, but not anything to where I'd be like, these are amazing in comparison. And then they have been fairly durable, believe it or not, even though they look like a wrestling shoe. Like, it doesn't look like a basketball shoe. So the fused toe cap right here, it is actually doing its job. You can see some scuffs on the toe itself, but it's not making the material get like cut up or ripped up or anything like that. But what you can see right here is some minor delaminations. So a lot of moisture build up, a lot of heat and all that stuff from when you start sweating and really moving in the shoe. It can cause like very thin, basically TPU fuse overlays like this to like delaminate from the material. So it's been durable in certain sections and then not super durable in others. And then this particular shoe, the right toe right there, it just, I don't know what all this discoloration is about, but it just looks funny. So yeah, that's not a good look. Now, as far as fit is concerned, they do fit true to size. However, they fit super snug, which I actually love, especially if you're talking about a shoe that's as kind of like light as these guys with an upper this flimsy. Some people might not like the way that they are like super tight on your feet, you know what I'm saying? But that's where this guy right here will come into play, because it sits a little bit lower than the one that it actually comes with. It actually relieves a little bit of space right here in the toe cap. This is the main area where it feels like it's just kind of like really restricting. Again, I really like the way that that feels, but not everybody is going to. So if you like to have a little bit of wiggle room, you know what I mean? Like even if lengthwise you don't have a ton of wiggle room, but you want to be able to actually move your toes because this material is sitting directly on top of your foot, changing out that insert will actually provide that for you. If you keep it as is though, it's literally a one-to-one fit, which again, I really like. It's something that the Kobe AD NXT 360, I feel like lacked a little bit. That Flyknit, the plasticky feel of it kind of bubbled in certain areas, especially in the toe, whereas this guy kind of like fixes that in my opinion. Now the support, I know doesn't look great. It is one of those shoes that you can kind of crumple up and bend up and all that stuff, but it's not that bad. The way that it fits and wraps around your foot one-to-one actually gives you more of a natural feel than anything else. Biomechanics say that if you're barefoot, you get like the best mobility and movement and stability, all that stuff, because your body is being able to move naturally. Shoes are kind of the unnatural thing that you throw in there, so that's why you need things like outriggers, wider bases, so on and so forth. Otherwise you can possibly roll over because you're sitting higher off the floor, etc., etc. These guys right here kind of like take things back to that barefoot approach. It reminds me of a Nike Free version of a basketball shoe. So you sit super low, you feel very stable, you also feel barefoot. Again, some people might not like that, some people might. It was something that I had to get used to, but it wasn't like anything crazy. A couple of games and I was pretty much good to go. I just forgot that I was wearing anything, and that's exactly what you want out of your shoes. You don't want them to be a deterrent from you on court, you just want them to do their job so that you can do yours. There's not much of an outrigger, but you do sit all the way inside that insole or midsole area and all that stuff, so they don't look like they're like extremely wide or stable, but they actually are. And then this guy right here is missing the TPU arch plate as well as the lateral arch plate that was found on the same exact insert on the Kobe AD NXT 360, and I didn't notice a damn difference. So you know, take that for what it's worth. And that pretty much takes care of it for the performance review on the Converse All-Star Pro BB. I think that these things are very good, especially for that kind of like first time back around and all that stuff in however many years. I don't think that they're going to be for everybody though. If you don't like suffocating fits, you're not going to like them. If you don't like barefoot feels, you're not going to like them. If you don't like React, you're not going to like them. So it's not a shoe for everybody. But I think the things that they do well are like nice and all that stuff. I just think that they could have done a couple of things better. Mostly the traction. I think that the traction is one of those things where even if the rest of the shoe for me personally did work really well, because the traction was so inconsistent, it makes me not want to grab these and put them in my gym bag. Instead, I want to grab something that I know will not give out on me. Also, a quick thing to note, don't wear no-shows with these. They will cut your ankles. The tongues don't stay in place. So eventually this like little thin fuse razor sharp edge will dig right into you, and that's not cool. I do like little things that they've done though with the little heel pillows and stuff like that in the back. It makes the minimalist feel of the shoe feel very natural, very form-fitting. I think that they're very comfortable overall. So again, if they have what you're looking for, which is very specific stuff, then you might like these. If they do not, if you like a little bit of weight, if you like, you know, extra material, all that stuff, you're probably not going to like these things. So make sure that you know what you actually want and need out of your basketball shoes. That way you can pick the best one for you. Now, if you need any more information, you can always click the link in the description box below to head you over to WearTesters.com, where you can find out their price, their weight, and their scores. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. And until next time, guys, have a good one.